You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
Vengeance. I am the knight. I am
Matt Lazowitz, and welcome to this week's episode of Bat Chat with Matt and Will, a Batman ranking podcast, where each week my co-host Will Nevin and I dig into 3 Batman stories, discuss them, and rank them on the big board, thus creating a giant list of Batman stories from best to worst. Will, what's going on tonight?
Hey, life continues. I grow older each day. 2 things. One is the usual, but another is I am occasionally sucked into Facebook Marketplace because I don't know. I click on dumb stuff, especially when I'm Facebook. I can't find the listing now because it would be actually useful, but I'm just gonna say 39. I'm gonna say it was 39. What would you pay for a lot of 39 Star Trek The Next Generation VHS tapes?
I'd go $50.
$50.
I'm sure it's more, because those are collectibles at this point.
Who is collecting Star Trek VHS tapes?
VHS, it's not coming back, but there is still a cult of people who love VHS.
I would like them to stop. We've had this discussion before. Your CRT televisions, your VHS, it was bad. It really was. I understand the people who like vinyl. I think there is a very rich process of taking a record out of a sleeve and putting it on the table and putting the needle and they're doing neat things with records now, all the funky colors, and I get that. But VHS was objectively terrible.
Oh, they wore out, they skipped, they were not a good medium.
Actually physically rewinding something? Oh my God. Now, again, I think this was for the lot. It certainly couldn't have been by the cassette, but for the lot of 39, the original price was 25, but we marked it down to 15.
Ooh.
And it just amazed me looking at that wow, people will hold out hope that they can sell something for almost nothing. They will waste time fielding things on Facebook before they will just let it go.
You know, I was at a flea market, and I did take $4 because they were $1 a piece for VHSs of the 4 '80s, '90s Batman movies. Not to watch, but as, a piece, as a collectible to put with my collection. But I wasn't going to pay more than $1 a VHS.
Yeah, again, I'm just amazed that people just won't let stuff go. Let it go. Let it go. That's the only thing I know. But it's just stuff, man.
I have those Batman VHSs as kind of an art object, as
Yeah.
a capsule of time. But VHS, it's not even like it gave you like a rich experience. VHS never looked good.
No. And look, same token I can accept vinyl, I will accept Laserdisc.
Yeah.
It was a superior format.
As was Betamax, for God's sake. Even Betamax was better than VHS. But
Goddamn pornographers going with VHS.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's weird Facebook thing of the week. On to Bat Chat Movie Chat. Lurkers was an interesting little piece. Not that I have seen this movie, but sort of the dark side of Almost Famous. Something like ruminations on fame and proximity to fame and the mutually parasitic, symbiotic relationships that would-be celebrities and clingers on can have. Very dark, very awkward. Like it's just 90 minutes of awkward. But I particularly enjoyed where this main character who has weaseled himself into a circle of a up and coming recording star. He's asked on multiple occasions, like, "What is it that you do here?" And he just says, "Well, like, I take pictures, man, document stuff, man." And it's a really telling moment about how it's just none of us have really any talent in that this culture is so debased and fame does not require talent or any particular ability. It's just about making your moment and being lucky. And that's what life is like in the public space in 2025. Hot tour.
Oh, wow. I haven't. Well, I think that I must say I haven't thought about that person since, they had their 15 minutes and I barely thought about them then. So,
Did you watch Always Sunny yet?
not yet.
Oh my God, Matt, get on it.
There's only so much time.
If you
But
haven't watched it by next week, we're gonna stop the show. You're gonna go watch it, and then we'll get back and we'll talk about it.
I'll work on it. I've there's only so much time.
Look, just get to those last three episodes. That's all you got to do.
Okay, yeah, and I did not see Lurker, so I cannot comment on Lurker.
I wouldn't go out of my way to see it, but it wasn't bad either.
I think I've got 3 booked for this week, so I still have 1 slot open. So I don't know what else is out this week aside from what I already booked. So maybe that'll be the 4th because I've got Long Walk, I've got Spinal Tap, and the mystery movie on Monday night. The next AMC, it's coming out soon, and ta-da! So I don't know what that's
Ta-da!
gonna be. I saw Conjuring, which you don't care about. I saw The Roses, which you have no interest in, and I saw Twinless.
I saw the trailer for that. Was it as sexual as it seemed?
Oh, yes.
Very good.
I have never been in a gayer audience.
Nice.
It was wall to wall gays, except for 2 hetero couples who came as a double date. And you could tell after the movie, because I heard them talking, the 2 macho boyfriends were beside themselves because of the intense gay sex scene early on.
Nice.
And the girl's like, we thought it was like a horror movie, like a thriller. And the trailer does give that kind of vibe in places, but it never really goes there. It's really a psychosexual drama.
Yeah, the trailer for Lurkers even seems more like a horror movie, but it none of that was there. Just creepy worm-like behavior.
Which is what this is too. Twinless is definitely that same kind of vibe. By the trailer, I absolutely guessed one of the twists to the movie. And it's not necessarily multiple twists, it's the reason that the 2 main characters are interacting. You don't care, and this will be coming out, what, a month after the movie? So, from the trailer, watching it, you have the 2 guys meeting at the support group for people who lost their twins. I'm immediately like, okay, yeah, the squirrely guy, he doesn't have a twin. He's coming to this meeting because he's lonely.
Marla-ing it.
Right. I was right, but on top of that, it's not that he's going there because it's lonely. He's going there because he had a one-night stand with this guy's twin. And was
Oh.
accidentally responsible for his death.
Oh ho ho.
He was screaming at him in the street for not calling him back. And the guy's like, I meant to call you, steps out in the street to talk to him, and bam, gets hit by a car.
Nice.
And so he's following this guy because he feels an attraction to him who is not gay. And it's just painful because you're watching, like, this is going to come out. He's going to say the wrong thing at one point to someone, and it's all going to come out, and it's going to be terrible. And it was. Not the movie. The movie itself was good, but the moment was terrible.
Yeah, it's hard to sit through those kind of cringy movies that like, oh, I know that this is happening and it kind of makes my screen crawl.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen Friendship?
No. That the Paul Rudd movie?
Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's that, but in a comedy where it's like it's awkward, but it's done. It's played for laughs. I mean, that's Tim Robinson's kind of thing. It's very good, but there are moments where it's like, oh God, how much more awkward can this get? Oh God, oh God. But yeah, so that
But yeah, you like Conjuring?
I did. Yeah, it was fine. It's very much the Conjuring movies have a formula, and this is the Conjuring formula.
I saw a headline about how James Wan felt like he wasn't going to get or not getting paid enough, and be like, I'm going to be out.
Yeah, he was just a producer on this one. He didn't even direct.
Going back to Saw, baby.
I want Malignant too. Actually, I don't. I really like that Malignant sort of wrapped up, but I want something back in that weird grindhousey giallo thing he did in Malignant. I thought that was a really interesting horror movie view.
But yes, Long Walk. That's going to be a lot of fun.
It might be my favorite of the King Bachman books. It's that and Running Man and Rage, which is out of print forever, and Roadwork, which I've never read. I have a whole thing where for artists, authors I love, I hold back reading one thing by them, so I always have one more left. And honestly, King himself is like, Roadwork was me trying way too hard to write a serious novel. It's bad. So it's like, I can let this one be the one that is always out there unread. If King himself says it's not good, why am I wasting my time? I don't have a segue. I was trying to come up with a segue from that, and I do not have one.
We're gonna long walk directly over to talking about the books this week.
Yeah, there we go. This week, we're returning to the three runs we're following in order: No Man's Land, Grant Morrison's run, and Injustice. Our first story of the night is Assembly. This is Batman Legends of the Dark Knight number 120. The writer is Greg Rucka, with pencils by Mike Deodato Jr., inks by Sean Parsons, colors by Pamela Rambeau and Wildstorm Effects, letters by Willie Schubert, and edited by Denny O'Neil, Jordan B. Gorfinkel, and Joseph P. Illage. The cover date is August of 1999. Batman has called his allies home. It is time to work together to save Gotham City. The new Batgirl's identity is revealed, and by this issue's end, another new Batgirl will join the Bat family. So we finally have the answer, Will, the answer you have been asking for multiple No Man's Land episodes. Who is the new Batgirl?
The new Batgirl for approximately 7 or 8 pages in this issue.
She's been the new Batgirl for 5 months before this, too.
I guess if I had really sat down and considered who might the possible suspects be, if it was not going to be Cassandra and it was not going to be Stephanie Brown, it was not going to be Catwoman, how many other females are adjacent to the Bat family? I probably would have eventually stumbled on Huntress.
Do you want to know what my theory was back in the day?
What was your theory, Matt?
Montoya.
Okay. That would have been interesting.
Because I don't remember, and I think at the time I went back and looked, but I don't remember. But I don't remember Montoya ever appearing in the same scene as Batgirl. So I thought it might have been Montoya. I remember that being my theory going in. But Huntress makes total sense when you get there.
Of course, why did Huntress need to be Batgirl? That's a question I have.
No Man's Land 0.
Ah.
There is a one shot that came out in, I think it was October, as we entered the downhill, like when things were really like the snowball was rolling, where it's like, before we get here is some of the stuff that happened in the 3-month gap, where Bruce was and how and why Huntress became Batgirl. It's Greg Rucka one shot that I figured we would read it roughly when it came out, because I didn't want to read it before because it would have spoiled this reveal. I didn't want to read it where it fit chronologically in the narrative. There's a lot of No Man's Land we haven't read. There's Batman Chronicles, there's Azrael's, now Nightwing, Robin, and Catwoman start figuring in too. So there's a bunch of stuff that we haven't covered since we've just been sort of focusing on the main arc of No Man's Land. So eventually we can read all that other stuff.
Eventually, we can go back and finish Nightfall. We can do Cataclysm.
We still have to do Murderer and Fugitive. Oh, we're not running out of stories. Have no fear. We've got stories for years.
And they have stopped putting out new Batman stories, correct?
Yeah, no. We're just making it through the back catalog. We're
Okay.
good.
Okay. Good. Feels a little bit like Lucy in the bakery question mark.
I'm not
The
getting.
I Love Lucy.
Oh, yes. I was thinking Lucy from Peanuts in the football. Was what I thought. That we're always running at that football, getting ready to kick it, and finally it's like, hey, we did it. We're done.
We're done. We read all the Batman stories.
And then we wind up flat on our back.
No. Outside of the reveal, right? Outside of the end to the mystery. Not a whole lot here. I mean, there's a very nice scene between Bruce and Jim. I have never read a story where Jim Gordon hit Batman before. That was fun.
And we all know Bruce let him.
Oh yeah. Batman literally turns the other cheek.
Maybe hoping that, work out your anger, hit me, and it'll all be better. It was not.
No. Jim is very much in his feelings.
This is 120. I believe we're 4 months away from another Legends of the Dark Knight Greg Rucka one-off, which is the one where they actually do bury the hatchet and is basically an issue-length conversation. It's just the two of them in Jim's garden talking out their issues.
Only Greg Rucka could pull that off.
Oh, it works.
Oh, I'm sure it does. That's gonna be a fun read.
Yeah, but that's I think the first week of November cover dates, and we're in August cover dates. So we're still a few months off.
Do you think DC's ever going to attempt something like this again?
No.
Devoting every core title, devoting so much time to telling such an expansive and bizarre story.
No. You'd need an editor with the oomph of Denny O'Neil. And I don't know if there is. The only thing we've ever seen like it since, I think, is Jordan White over at Marvel with the Krakoa era of X-Men, with Hickman show running that entire era. This stuck the landing better than that's for sure. But you don't blame on Jordan White. That has a lot to do with Marvel's own editorial interference by the end. And I mean, this is Denny's swan song as full Batline group editor. He does a couple months after it to just sort of wrap things up, but he pretty much retires as editor after No Man's Land. He continues to write Azrael and the occasional Legends of the Dark Knight or one shot, but this was sort of his last great opus within the Bat titles. It's a hell of a way to go out.
Yeah. It's admittedly hard to follow this as you're coming back to it every few months, but I know as a concept for me, this works so much better than Metal or any of the other event books. Like there is just such a simple but complex narrative to follow here. And it's Gotham as post-apocalyptic. That's my shit. I love that.
It's baseline, it's gritty, it's baseline isn't the right word, but you know what I mean. It's not science fiction-y. It's down in the dirt.
And all of these characters are pushed to their breaking points.
That's what we see here, that Bruce does the thing that he so rarely does. He admits he's wrong.
It's hard.
When he's there with the family gathered at the end, he admits he's wrong. I'm pretty sure he admitted he was wrong about Azrael becoming Batman, but it doesn't happen very often. There's really just 3 scenes here. 4. There's the opening at the clock tower Bruce and Jim, Bruce and Dick going to see Huntress, and then the return to the clock tower at the end. We've seen this with No Man's Land before too, where No Man's Land goes through these cycles of action, 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 little quiet setup arc, action, action, action. And not necessarily action isn't also maybe the right word because there are character bits and things that go on in those non-setup issues, but this is setting the springboard for Act 3 of No Man's Land.
It does feel very much like not a hard reset, but this is our agenda for the next act. Like this is what we are doing. These are the stories and the beats and the ideas that we're going to focus on. Like it almost feels like a preview of what's coming up.
The way I look at it is Act 1 of No Man's Land is the first 3 months. So it's the opening, the Scarecrow story, Black Mask, and Penguin. Then you get April and May, which is Act 2. And that's the one-offs and the Two-Face invasion and Mark of Cain. Act 3 is this, and then the following arc dealing with Batman and Robin in Robinson Park. And also, one thing we probably will have to cover absolutely is the Nightwing arc that's running parallel to it, because that's Dick retaking Blackgate from lockup.
That ass in prison? Oh, yeah. We're going to read that.
And that, then another few little one-offs, and basically that arc is longer because that will run through September. So it's June, July, August, September, because that will be all this. And then that runs through the resolution of the Two-Face stuff and Jim and Bruce. And then finally, the final act is the reveal of something we haven't really seen the hints of yet, but it's 125 is the conversation, not 124, excuse me. Because that is marks for me the end of Act 3. And then the fourth quarter, the fourth act is it's time to put Gotham back together.
We'll get there.
We'll get to it all. But because the final act introduces an outside force attempting to rebuild Gotham and take it over, while Batman tries to fix things within and the Joker finally makes his play. But we still have this story that we are talking about. Well, there's not a lot of it. I really like the little bits with Cass, her introducing herself to the Bat family, that it's the physical, is that her placing her fist into their palm is her way of saying hello. And also, after abandoning them, Dick saying to Bruce, you just saying we can trust her isn't good enough. I can't just take your word for it. And it's Barbara saying, no, you can trust her, that gives them the reason. And as we said, this is when she becomes Batgirl. Barbara is the one who is willing to pass on the costume. And Barbara who says that you have to honor the costume. Because that's, I think, what bothered her, maybe not most, because she's not a big fan of Huntress to begin with, but it's that someone took up the mantle of Batgirl without her acceptance or permission. And so here she chooses her successor. There's also a nice awkward moment when Nightwing arrives at the clock tower and he just looks at Azrael. Azrael? Nightwing? They still don't like each other.
Azrael wasn't great.
But he doesn't do much here.
I mean, in Nightfall.
As that, yeah, no, he was not. There are reasons why Dick is still mad about that whole thing, and it is understandable.
That kerfluffle.
They've made something of a peace by this point, back in some earlier issues of Azrael, but it's still not the friendliest of relationships. I also like after Gordon does punch Bruce, there's a great line as Bruce is walking away, not disappearing. Two-Face isn't an ally you can trust. And Gordon's response is, neither, it seems, were you.
You did walk into that one, Bruce.
Oh, did he ever? And the moment of After they leave Huntress, Bruce and Dick's response to Bruce of, you've got that I have a plan tone. Just Bruce sort of like nodding and acknowledging that. Because he's Batman. He's always got a plan.
There's always a plan. It might not work, but he's always got one.
This is a perfectly fine issue with some nice character moments, but it's all table setting.
Oh yeah.
At the end, it's like, all right, Robin and I are going to Robinson Park. Nightwing, you have to go to Blackgate. Azrael, you and the new girl have to go and find Nicholas Scratch. He's literally setting up the next series of arcs.
Here's your assignments.
I'm trying to remember when Cassandra actually is given her name. I think it's in the first couple issues of her ongoing after No Man's Land, where Barbara actually gives her a name. Because unsurprisingly, Kane didn't actually name his child soldier experiment. What a surprise, right?
Shock.
What a dick. But yeah, I think we're through on this one.
Oh, that means it's time. But Batman Legends of Dark Knight, number 120, Assembly. The next arc in No Man's Land on the big board.
We're at 618 stories on the big board.
Yeah, damn.
Number 1 is Post-Crisis Origin of Batman. Batman Year 1.
Still at a sexy 69, it's Batman Annual number 14, Eye of the Beholder.
And still at 200 is the Chip Zdarsky Justice League miniseries Last Ride. At 400 is The Curse of the Innistree Quill, issue 7 of Gotham Academy.
Coming in real high, not nearly as close to the bottom as it once was. At number 420, it's Batman Wildcat.
And all the way at the bottom, at 618, it's Three Jokers.
What a dog turd of a story. I'm not saying it's gonna go this high, but real Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles vibes with this story in that it accomplished exactly what it was supposed to do. Again, that's a 154. I'm not saying it belongs that high, but this is a workman-like story. It moves the overall plot along, and it has some good moments. But this is not going to be anybody's favorite Batman story.
No. So right now, here are our placements for No Man's Land. The highest is Arc 1 at 44. Then at 196, so it's quite a big gap between the first arc and the next one, is Calm Before, those one-offs. Then Mark of Cain at 205. Fear of Faith at 218, Bread and Circuses at 231, Claim Jumping at 242, and Mosaic at 295. So No Man's Land seems to be mostly in the 200s. The high points of No Man's Land are towards the end. Jurisprudence, the Two-Face two-parter, Shell Game, the final arc. There's some other good ones. There's another month of one-offs. I don't think they're quite as memorable as that first set, but still.
So you're saying the lowest we have right now is 295. Is that correct?
Yes, this is above Mosaic. I wouldn't put it above Mark of Cain at 205. I think they do a lot of really cool stuff there in establishing Cassandra, but I might actually put it in that space in between Mark of Cain and Fear of Faith. So in the
218.
Yeah, there we go, between 205 and 218.
But you would say this beats Bread and Circuses at 231.
Yeah, I think it beats Bread and Circuses. I think it might beat 218. I think it might beat Fear of Faith. It doesn't beat Mark of Cain. So I'm thinking probably in between Mark of Cain and Fear of Faith.
That's a relatively tight range, 218, 205.
Yeah.
How about the new 212?
New 212, in between part 2 of Eternal and 66 Meets Man from U.N.C.L.E.?
Yeah.
Yeah. Our second story of the night is Batman and Robin Must Die. This is Batman and Robin, Volume 1, numbers 13 to 16, and Batman The Return. The writer is Grant Morrison, with art by Fraser Irving, Cameron Stewart, Chris Burnham, David Finch, with inks over Finch by Matt Banning and Ryan Wynn. Colors by Alex Sinclair, Irving, and Peter Steigerwald. Letters by Pat Brousseau and Dave Sharp, and edited by Mike Martz and Janel Asselin. The cover dates are August of 2010 to January of 2011. Dr. Hurt's plan has reached fruition. Gotham is falling, and it believes that Thomas Wayne has returned, destroying the Wayne legacy. And Batman and Robin are at the mercy of Hurt and the Joker as they clash. In the end, Batman and Robin must face the deadliest threat they have ever confronted, and they will receive aid from a long-thought-lost ally in a battle that will change the Batman legacy forever. Problematic Creator Watch, Cameron Stewart, who has been accused of grooming. This is a hell of a conclusion to all the stuff Morrison has been doing in Batman and Robin.
Man, isn't it though? All right. So what Morrison sometimes loses in fine sort of plot detail or character motivations. So for example, right, there's the idea of, this contagion in the city that turns people into hopeless drug addicts. We see that Gordon has been affected by this, but we really don't get the details of how he has been affected. We don't get his struggle. Like it's a little bit glossing over, right? Morrison, to my read, glosses over some of these things. They are obviously very concerned with tying all of this together in a larger mythos to make it feel more epic and to just tie all parts of this 100-year-old mythos together. And in the individual moments, it can feel a little disconnected. It can feel a little disjointed. But in terms of telling a story with scale, with scope, with gravity, and I don't necessarily mean just that, like the consequences to Gotham, because God knows we've read enough Gotham in peril stories. But this one seems larger in scale and just heavier. And I think it really worked. It really worked.
I agree. And I think part of it is that the scope of it, that you've got these two Gotham ending disasters possibly happening with Hurt and the drug, the plague/drug, and Joker with a fucking nuke. But those are background.
Yeah, they absolutely are.
That the thing that makes it feel so big is that these terrible things are happening, but they're not even the things that we're really concerned about. What we're really concerned about is Dick and Damian and Dr. Hurt and what Hurt is specifically doing to them. It means that there's so much going on that we don't get lost. We're seeing the trees, not the forest.
Yes.
And it doesn't hurt that Fraser Irving draws the living hell out of the 3.5 issues that he does.
Oh my God, that was something.
Irving's Joker is the stuff of nightmares in the best way, as is his Professor Pig. Ooh. I loved this arc. I really, really loved all the different things that Morrison has worked in here and the different character interactions. This is my favorite Morrison Joker story. I love Joker's vicious banter with Damian.
You're my favorite one. You brought your own crowbar.
And his final interaction with Hurt, and that final moment after he's buried Hurt alive and he's walking away. Well, I guess it's maybe from now on, I'll be a hero, just to get punched in the face by Bruce. Bruce's final moment in the main story before the little bit of the epilogue at the end of 16 is Batman having another confrontation with the Joker. It's like, yeah, that's good. That's where we're going. Like it.
So let me ask you this. Why read The Return with this arc and not the first arc of Batman Inc.?
That is a good question. I went with it because this is where it was traded.
Mm-hmm.
And the first 10 issues of Batman Inc. is basically one big story. They're all like little one or two parters that form one big arc. So it was going to be long enough as it was. Adding in another double-sized issue, especially one that is included in collection with this felt like the organic place for it to be, even though it really would serve more as the prologue to Batman Inc. rather than the epilogue to Batman and Robin.
I was just curious. It certainly doesn't feel out of place, but you can definitely sense, oh, all right, we're doing some globe trotting. We're also keeping the status quo in place, kind of, and that we're gonna have more Dick, Bat, and Damien.
Yeah, but then that was simply a DC traded it with it, so I'm just including it there. There are so many cool beats in this book. The idea that Joker, and we've seen this before about what happens to Joker when his Batman is gone. And the idea that he doesn't necessarily go sane, but crime doesn't hold the appeal that it once did. And he still is pissed at Dr. Hurt for what Hurt tried to do back in R.I.P., thinking he could make the Joker his subordinate. So Joker has been playing a long game against Hurt this entire time. All the domino, the language, the Mexican train, all of that stuff, because that's a dominoes term. And all the different things with the dominoes here, and Joker talking about them. Only Morrison would do that. And Joker, like, I beat him at cards. I beat him at chess. I beat him at domino. It's great. Very few writers set up something as well as Morrison. Dr. Hurt shooting the pumpkins and the watermelons at the beginning, coming around to, he was working on getting the proper depth and distance to lodge the bullet in the back of Dick's skull. Or Joker dropping the banana peel at the beginning of issue 15 for Dr. Hurt to slip on the banana peel at the end of issue 16.
Because that's funny.
One of the old jokes. And Hurt with his constant claims to be the devil. What happens to Lucifer? Lucifer falls. Going back to the stuff from that flash forward, the possible future of Batman 666, Damian talking about selling his soul to the devil. That is what would have happened if Bruce hadn't found his way back to the present. That's the reality where Bruce doesn't come home. Damian eventually does become Hurt's disciple to save Dick. But now we're in the world where Bruce came back. And the ties of Return of Bruce Wayne into this, the gotchas, the repeated mantra of gotcha, the note that he left him, which was the last word that he said right after he shot Darkseid before the Omega effect hit him. All of it. Morrison lays everything out. Joker pulling a scheme to let Batman and Robin help him. The repeated shots of the clock. That Hurt arrives at Wayne Manor at 10:47, 10:47 being the time the Waynes were killed, and Bruce, the final solar eclipse happening at 10:47 as Bruce Wayne returns. And that's a great final page. The final page of issue 15, Devil meet Bat God. And
Yeah.
Bruce just being there. It's so cool. Other people try. Other people write him as a fucking freak, but nobody writes a freakier pig than Morrison.
No, it's almost like Pig. He is in his own world.
Oh, 100%. I would have to go back and read over and over again, that dialogue to try to figure out exactly what it was he was saying. Because a lot of it seems to be gibberish. Although his final line as the Dolatrons tear him apart, "I'm not wearing protection, my darlings." That's a fucked up line.
Only Morrison.
One thing that is in here that I think has been referenced elsewhere, but we never got a lot of explanation of it. And I would have loved to see a flashback to it, is Hurt saying how Thomas and Martha Wayne tried to help him, and instead he's chosen to destroy their legacy. I would have been curious to actually see Hurt interacting with Thomas and Martha. I'm pretty sure that was referenced. I mean, Hurt has said it before, but Hurt is the least reliable of narrators. He's actively still claiming to be Thomas Wayne when we know for a fact he isn't.
Another one of the ideas and points that doesn't get a lot of exploration.
Yeah, and there is only...
as a reader, you know that that's not going to go anywhere. So ultimately, it doesn't matter.
Right, but it's an interesting thing to think about.
It's like all of Gotham is going to hell, and then Thomas Wayne showed up again today.
Yeah. How is that even a news story when the city is literally tearing itself apart and everyone is addicted to a drug because of a virus? The retelling of those scenes from Dark Knight, Dark City, only inserting Dr. Hurt actively into them and seeing, oh, he was down in the cellar too, and he stayed behind after. And I like the idea that we know from Return of Bruce Wayne that the Barbatos there isn't the actual Barbatos demon that we'll see in Metal, but the Apocalyptian hyperadapter. But Hurt, everything it says, Hurt reads it through demonology and his warped Christianity because he doesn't understand new gods. And then we get to the end of the issue and we get Batman Inc. We get the idea of Batman Inc. introduced. I know Morrison is too much of a professional to ever do it, but I would love to hear them lay out exactly what had to change because of the new 52. What Batman Inc. would have been if those changes weren't forced upon them. The Return isn't a bad one-shot. It's a perfectly good one-shot, but it doesn't carry the oomph that it would after just that epic ending to Batman and Robin Must Die. David Finch is a good artist, but compared to Fraser Irving and Chris Burnham, I don't think he's there.
No.
I think a lot of people would disagree with me. I mean, Finch is a major superstar.
It's a different style. Irving was just better for this story.
Yes. I also was not in love with the fact that in The Return, he draws Morgan Freeman. It's not like he's drawing Lucius Fox. That doesn't look like the Lucius Fox of the comics. He's drawing Morgan Freeman. That is similar in some ways to Assembly because it's a lot of setup. It's a lot of establishing Batman Inc. and establishing Leviathan, which is the nemesis that Bruce is creating Batman Inc. to fight. And reading this, knowing where Batman Inc. goes, there's one moment that was another one of these Morrison, you brilliant son of a bitch moments, setting up something here that will pay off at the end of Batman Inc. Do not forget that after Damian fights the heretic and the heretic knocks him out, he falls and lands in the carcass of the monster that heretic was spawned from. And Damian pulls himself out of the same monster.
I'll try not to forget that.
I will bring it up when we get the revelations about heretic again, but hopefully I will remember it. But knowing where heretic goes, like, oh, again, you brilliant son of a bitch. that is much more of a straight Batman and Robin story. It shows that what Tomasi did in those early issues of Batman and Robin with Bruce and Damian is drawing from what Morrison was working on too, because Bruce and Damian don't work well together. And I love throughout this that we do see Bruce in Batman and Robin Must Die telling Damian he's proud of him. And here knowing that Dick and Damian work well together and not lecturing Damian. This Bruce has grown up, and God, there's that moment when he and Alfred are walking out of the cave, and Alfred saying that he could not imagine living a finer life. Oh,
That
so
that
good.
was good.
And the great little moment with Selina, because that's the first arc of, or the first part of the first volume of Batman and Batman Inc. I need someone to help me steal from a criminal mastermind. Are you busy?
You want to get coffee afterward?
I think I'm good here.
Oh, that means it's time. But Batman and Robin Must Die. Batman and Robin 13 to 16 and Batman the Return on the big board.
I'm scrolling up.
150 right now is Archie Goodwin's Manhunter.
Love it. Not as much of a Batman story. I think we go higher.
Batman Captain America 125.
That is cuter. This is more Batman. This is Morrison at the height of their powers. All right, well, I have a question for you.
Yes.
This is going way high, but I want to give this sort of a baseline. Up at 52 is Return of Bruce Wayne. Above or below Return of Bruce Wayne?
That was absolutely cosmic in scope and timeless in scope. This is a very good story about shit going sideways in Gotham. I think Return of Bruce Wayne is higher.
Okay, I'm good with that. Right now, the highest arc of the Morrison Batman and Robin is 121, the first arc, 1 through 3. I think I like this more. I like the culmination of it. I think Irving's art is outstanding. I think this cracks the top 100 for me. I'm willing to be argued. Right now, 100 is Playing with Matches, which is the animated series Matches Malone story, which is really good, but this has so much weight to it. This is the return of Bruce Wayne. This is Bruce and Dick teaming up to beat the devil. Even if Hurt isn't really the devil, he thinks he's the devil.
All right, above or below Clown at Midnight at 79.
Oh, that's a good question. Clown at Midnight is bonkers. Clown at Midnight is an experiment. I think I might go above Clown at Midnight. The art here also really helps it. Okay, I'm going to give you, I think here's my ceiling. It's
All
not
right,
necessarily right below this, but I'm saying I don't think this goes above Every Day. That annual about a week in the life of Batman that has just some really beautiful, tender Batman moments and is so much about who Bruce Wayne is as Batman at 66.
Above or below Rooftops then?
I think we're in between Every Day and Rooftops.
All right. The new 67.
Rooftops is great. I love the Bruce and Selina stuff in there. But reading this again just knocked my socks off. And also, it helped that I was reading this. There were some delays. As you could tell, that was 4 issues over the course of 6 months. So there were extra gaps in there. Reading this together really showed all the stuff that Morrison was doing in it.
For our final story of the night, something that will not be going up at 67.
Oh, no. Not at all. Our final story of the night is Injustice Year 4, Volume 2. This is Injustice Gods Among Us, Year 4, numbers 8 to 12, and annual number 1. The writers are Brian Buccellato and Tom Taylor, with art by Mike S. Miller, Bruno Redondo with Juan Albarran inks, Sergio Sandoval and Jordi Tarragona. Colors by Rex Locus, letters by Wes Abbott, and edited by Jim Chadwick. The cover dates are October of 2015 through February of 2016. Superman and the Justice League's battle with the Greek gods continue, and it doesn't go well for the League. Ares, god of war, is working with a powerful new ally who has shifted the balance of power, and only by teaming up with the insurgency can Superman possibly force the gods to surrender their hold. I think we've said this for the past couple of volumes, but by this point, the seams aren't just showing, but they're starting to come apart.
So, the last couple of times I have read something and it just has not made any sense at all. I've come to you and you've been like, oh, it didn't make any sense to me. So I felt totally validated. I'm going to try again. We got this scene with one Billy Batson and Zeus. And Zeus is threatening to zot Billy Batson. And Harley Quinn runs in, says, "No!" She is turned into ash. Billy Batson, though, is not. He is seen safe in that panel, and he is seen safe in a subsequent panel. And yet he wakes up in the afterlife with Harley.
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm not a moron.
No.
Once again, I'm not stupid.
Absolutely not. That felt like we were missing a page where Zeus poofs him away, saying that he's keeping him as a hostage. But yeah, it felt like there was something missing there.
And there's something really lost in translation where it's...
Crap. 1 second before you do that. I forgot we have to do a problematic creator watch for Mike S. Miller, the guy who said Comicsgate doesn't go far enough.
Boo.
Yeah.
Like, there's something just really... You're fucked up in your storytelling and you're fucked up in dealing with, what powers Zeus has when he turns Harley to ash. And there she just is in hell or whatever. Like, none of that made sense. Zero made sense. If you're going to have a wacky cartoon universe, which you do, it has to have some rules. That whole scene, and especially when she's down there in the afterlife and she eventually gets out by taking one of the little green pills, it's like none of this has any structure to it. None of it has any rules, and none of it has any consequences. For all the people who have died, it seems like a very strange move for Harley to be able to survive Zeus.
Yeah, because I figured, she's dead. I mean, she's down in the afterlife. So
apparently you can just fly up out of the pit, no big deal, or use a boom tube out of the pit. Whichever one of those ones you can just do.
The boom tube I can almost understand. That's God tech. But the green pill still works when you're dead? If it was established that Zeus didn't kill her, but, in the same way, Darkseid zorts Batman with his Omega effect in Final Crisis and sends him back in time, Zeus didn't actually vaporize her. He teleported her into the pit. But why would Zeus do that? She's a nuisance to Zeus. Zeus would just kill her.
Zeus does stuff for fun.
Yay, he hasn't turned into a swan to go out and pick up chicks lately.
Oh, that shit's just hot, man.
Listen, Zeus is mythology's greatest creep and rapist. And I mean greatest in the scale sense, not in the this is a great thing or great person. Greatest in that he's a giant piece of crap.
I would, however, fuck as a swan, but only consensually.
There you
go.
go.
Make that clear.
That's what's important. There's just so much that goes on here that I don't care.
No. Mm-mm. Oh, Ares is a piece of shit. I'm shocked.
Ares, but Ares, all of this, it's daddy issues. Ares is pissed that his dad made him the god of war, so now he's teaming up with Darkseid to pit the Justice League against his dad. The only thing worse than a supervillain who's in his 40s having daddy issues is a supervillain in his 40,000th having daddy issues.
None of this was interesting. None of it was novel. None of it had any kind of emotional core. I thought when Taylor was coming back to write the annual, I thought maybe it would be good, but no, I got fucking Plastic Man.
Your least favorite character. He is to you what Deathstroke is to me.
Oh my God. I'm like, God damn it. Fucking Plastic Man. Oof. Ugh.
And I didn't have the wherewithal to dig out Volume 1. Croc was alive in that prison. I thought Croc got killed when Superman purged Arkham in Volume 1. But does he actually, or does the insurgency stop him? And I'm mixing this up with Vampire Batman killing everybody in Arkham in Crimson Mist.
That might be it. That might be it. It sure would be helpful, right? If you had some kind of, where we are in the story kind of update. Oh, these are all the people who are dead. Nightwing is now dead man, that kind of update.
I kind of
But
wish we
where's
got more.
Nightwing?
Yeah, where's that? That was something that I thought was really interesting last volume, and now he's just not around anymore.
No, he's hanging out in the afterlife, doing dead man stuff. Tom Taylor does emotional heft very well. That annual had zero of it. None. Zip. Like not even the Plastic Man kind of sad clown connecting with his son trope. You have his son being a member of the resistance and being brave and talking about how, his dad's kind of a dirtbag and a scoundrel and has very rarely risen to the occasion. And at the end they just decide, oh yeah, we'll just go sit this out. That's better. Getting involved is dumb, isn't it?
Better to let somebody else handle it.
Yeah, let's just go hang out, bud. You and me. We'll go turn into stuff.
And if you're going to do the story where Batman and Superman, who have been at each other's throats, have to team up and work together, we got that at the end of Volume 3 when they had to work together to stop the Mixie Spitlick, Mixie Dr. Fate magical kerfluffle. So here we're just back to that beat again, and I just don't care. That's what it really boils down to. This has gone on for so long, and it just feels like we're making time until we can get to the actual video game.
Yeah, 5 years is too much time. And I don't think, DC editorial can correct me if I'm wrong. DC editorial, you have an open invitation to come on the show and answer for your crimes. I am fairly sure they had no idea this series would be this popular.
Oh,
Or
hell no.
otherwise, the art would have been more consistent from day one, and the art still wouldn't be this shit in year 4. But you can forgive it because the story is getting to be about as shitty as the art. There was no plan, I think. There was no big scale idea. I think they just have Tom Taylor. Oh yeah, we'll do the first part. Like, think of, maybe roughly sketch out what have happened. You talk to the writers of the game, what do they think might have happened to get us to this point after the inciting event? And we finally get some movement at the end of the story when Superman just goes like full fascist, like we are dissolving the world's governments, you answer to me, no more of this plotting against me, that sort of thing. And launching nuclear weapons against Themyscira has no consequences. Like those are instantly dealt with and resolved. The speed at which something happens and then is instantly negated in this story, exhausting.
Is this about when you gave up, or did you read all the way through year 5?
I feel like I had stopped at this point. I really do, because Old Gods and New Gods, both not my jam.
You don't know what was in that Luthor's tank that escaped at the end, because I don't, because I haven't read. This
I
is
mean,
my
I assumed it was Bizarro, right? That's typically what Luthor has in a tank.
Bizarro or Superboy, but we know Superboy got sent to the Phantom Zone.
And Supergirl has not made it to Earth in the Injustice universe. That's Injustice 2.
Right. The only other thing I'm thinking of knowing from the game, could it be the Joker clone? The Joker is a playable character because he's a clone.
Mm-hmm.
Could that be what it's escaped? Is it the Joker clone?
Could be.
We'll find out when we get to year 5, but I was just thinking about clones. I was like, I could have sworn, and I might be misremembering because it's been a long time since I ever played Injustice. But I thought Joker is there because he's a clone.
And of course, you had to have Joker as a playable character, but then you also had to have a way for him to be alive. So, yeah, clone. Year 5 apparently has 3 volumes.
Seriously?
Seriously. The complete collection, 472 pages.
Yikes. Befuddled by how this could go that long. Spending way too much time trying to figure out if I'm misremembering that the Joker was a clone in this. We'll get there next volume and we'll find out. There's one moment that I sat there and I read it and I'm like, I don't know if this is dumb or almost clever. That at the end, when Orion and Highfather are talking, and Orion is asking Highfather why he didn't stop Superman, and he gives, his prime directive, we can't interfere with mortals, but there's also, he senses that others out there will intercede, and they sort of look off into the middle distance. It was like, are you referencing players? Are you referencing the video game? Is this a meta thing?
I took that to be some kind of multiple universe stuff because I know that inevitably Injustice does get tangled up in that as well.
Okay, I took it as them trying to be weirdly meta.
That would be exceptionally weird.
One other thing that we definitely do have to point out before we wrap this story up is that when Poseidon, who is remarkably easy to manipulate, apparently, shows up and attacks the Themyscira, and then Aquaman shows up to fight him, he pulls him out of the water and he is eaten by a giant fish, which is, of course,
Shark Watch?
first time in a while. But yes, we have a shark eating Poseidon. And then Poseidon comes out, so I guess he killed that shark.
I don't think Poseidon can be eaten. I don't know how you kill a Greek god, but I don't think he can be eaten.
No. And once again, Wonder Woman, there is no character who is mishandled in the Injustice universe worse than Wonder Woman.
Yeah, no. If she's one of your faves, I'd skip this.
Yeah. I mean, here, she's strident and keeps getting bossed around by Zeus. It's not a good look. It's not a good use of the character. Yeah, this is not a winner this time.
No, the least essential of all of the Injustice stories. I don't think it gets to be truly loathsome, but I would not recommend this to anyone.
There's nothing particularly problematic here.
No,
But this is going to be right above problematic territory because it's just not anything.
it is probably an issue or two shorter from being in just the very bottom. The best thing you can say about this story is that it doesn't drag. It doesn't
Yeah.
go anywhere. It doesn't have anything of meaning or substance or consequence, but at least it doesn't drag. And I think on that note, it's time to put Injustice Year 4, Volume 2 on the big board.
Going way down.
I don't think this cracks 500.
No, no. So I'm just trying to see, where does the oy vey, this stuff is
I think
truly wretched.
right at Grim Knight at 517. We start to get some of the oh my god, because we got Grim Knight at 517, Speeding Bullets, Catwoman Election Night that's a little bit lower at 535.
I think things start getting truly and unutterably terrible at 575. Everything below 575 either is poorly done or has some problematic element to it. Which is why there's a couple things down there, like Gotham by Gaslight needs to get out of there, because for all of its other, it doesn't belong to be in the dregs like that. That needs to be corrected.
And maybe Night Quest too.
Night Quest has the Chandra Kinsolving stuff. That's why it wound up down there.
All right, good point. You forget that Batman had a girlfriend that got turned into a baby.
Listen, there's some stuff above that that is also pretty darn bad. Okay, here's something that I'm viewing in the same sort of range for
All
me.
right, what you got?
560 Golden Dawn, that David Finch Dark Knight, where it's just 5 issues of weird nonsense that was also probably fucked over by the new 52 happening, but still is not good.
No.
For all of its overdoneness, I would read America versus the Justice Society before I read this.
That at least came from a good place.
Yes, this came from you need to write another Injustice story, but I really thought we were no, you need to write another one.
And then you need to write 3 more volumes after this one.
How is the last one longer?
Oh, well, we've tried magic, we've tried gods. The next volume, we're just gonna team up with the bad guys. Penguin 1 to 5. What do you think about that?
All right. Well, here's the thing. Tom King's bullshit is Tom King bullshit, but Tom King is never phoning it in.
That's true. He's giving it his whole ass, even when that whole ass is ass.
Right. This feels phoned in to me. This feels like Paycheck Comics, if there ever was Paycheck Comics.
New 560 then?
Yeah. Because at least this is more cogent than Golden Dawn.
Oh my God. It does not have, I don't think, any groaners when it comes to lines. Every reference to Golden Dawn was a groaner in that book.
You know, maybe we're wrong. Maybe year 5 is going to be, better.
I don't think it can be much worse.
I mean, it literally can't be much worse because there's not that much below this on the list. But that does it for tonight. Next week, it's 3 stories about the life and times of Jim Gordon.
Hell yes.
Remember, you can support the podcast on Patreon at patreon.com/batchat with Matt and Will, where you can get shoutouts, bonus content, pick a story, and even come on the show. We'd like to thank those Patreon backers: Dan Grote, Josh Wheel, Mrs. Abigail Hartbaum, Asma Fangirl, Tony Thornley,
Go Aggies.
Sam Hopper,
Go to bed, Sam.
John Wickham,
That fucking asshole.
Robert Secundus,
Put down the discourse, Bobby.
Tim Rooney, Giorgio Sergioli, David Wheel,
World's greatest gray belt.
Alexander Wheel, Matt McThorne,
McThorny.
Dan Offer,
Barely knew her.
Nate Randell, Daniel Mosley, Ross Holmes,
Mr. Random Ass.
Will Crisp,
Nick Padre.
Carlos Cordova, Jordan Jennings, and Charlie Etheridge Nunn for their support. The show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music/Audible, YouTube Music, Podbean, and on comicsxf.com, where new episodes drop every Thursday. You can find me on Blue Sky, where I talk about comics and other random things, and Letterboxd, where I review all the movies I watch, both at MattLaz1013.
I continue to make poor choices, like staying on Twitter at Will Nevin. I'm going to have something to quench my thirst, and then I'm going to go to bed. Good night, Huntsville!
And be sure to visit ComicsXF at comicsxf.com or ComicsXF on Blue Sky for our weekly Friday Bat Chat roundup of new Bat books, for my other show, the ComicsXF Interview Podcast, where my longtime best friend Dan Grote and I interview comics creators, retailers, publishers, journalists, and other related tradespeople, as well as all the other stuff Will and I are writing. And stay safe out there, folks. Gotham is not a place to be after dark.